very first Artist of the Month. I'm Sammy Andrews, and I'm an abstract artist and a member of the Blooms group. So we've decided to enable you to see more of our work and what we do. We would dedicate a month to each of the 7 artists that are in our collective. So the Blooms, I'll just give you a bit of a background. The Blooms, we started in June 2020, and we all met online through a course that we were doing. And we decided we wanted to carry on doing what we were doing together, because we found that we really supported each other and our work and showcasing our work. And so we've actually had 3 online, very interactive online art exhibitions last year. We will be having one this year. We're going to have them annually now because everything's opening up. And so we want to get out there and have people see us and meet us live, but we're still going to do our online art exhibition. But it's very different from what you normally see online. It's not just a load of pictures flipping across. You actually get to meet us, the artists, and hear what we have to say and ask us questions about our work. And we're 7 artists that do very different types of work. We also have a very special associate Blooms member, because the Blooms were all female. But we have a very special associate member, which is Steve from Wacky Lamps. Good morning, Steve. And he is not only an associate member, but he's also one of the team, a very integral part of the team that got together our whole online experience, along with his partner Stephanie, who I will be introducing shortly, because Stephanie is our Artist of the Month. Stephanie will be taking over the Blooms Instagram page and the Facebook page for the whole of January. She will be coming on live. She will be adding pieces of her work. But I'm going to add Stephanie, bring her in now, without further ado, to join us, because this is an interview about Stephanie. So let me add you, Steph.
Yes. Oh, here she comes. Hey, gorgeous girl.
Do you like my fluffy?
Oh, I love your fluffy.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Well, it's a poncho.
Oh, I thought it was just a neck collar you had.
It's a whole thing. Yes.
Gorgeous.
New present. You're a tiger. From Mr.
Very,
Wacky Lamps himself.
It's very lovely. I do like that.
Yeah.
So I was just doing a brief introduction, then I started to meander off. So I thought, no, let's just get you on, Steph, because I've got quite a few questions to ask you. So first of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year to you.
Yes, thank you.
So I'll get on with one of my first questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, crack on.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your history and what brought you to your sculpting?
Right. So I would say I was definitely somebody who just did masses of different craft, and it was definitely craft that I did, because I got bored really easily, but I loved creating things. So I basically, in my job, I've been through the lot really. I've been accountant, IT, auditor, all those things. But they were just things that brought in the money. And what I love to do was to create things. So I've done everything from Chinese brush painting to macrame and goodness knows what else. But it was when I'd finally had enough of the corporate world, and I realised that actually the money wasn't doing it. That actually that isn't what it was all about, that I really started looking at what did I really want to do. And of course it's funny, isn't it, when you're ready, the right things come to you. And that's when I found needle felting and thought, what the hell's this? And started looking into it, and then got completely addicted to it, and then realised that everything came together, because I've never seen myself as an artist. because I don't paint or draw as such, but then realised I don't see 2D, I see in 3D. So that was when I started learning how to sculpt, how to create animals, and then eventually when I met all you guys, the Blooms, that was when I decided I wanted to be an artist.
The thing is, with your fibre sculpture, it's something I find it difficult to explain to someone without actually having the piece in front of them, because the photographs and the videos of your work are fabulous, but when you actually get to see it in real life, oh my God, it just blows me away, because of there's just something about each piece that you manage to pull out that personality or the essence of that animal.
And that's what I
try. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that's the bit which took it from craft to art, because I think I was learning my craft, and then I said, and the teacher that I learnt from was an American teacher, which I did online. But it's when you say, right, I now want to go out on my own, and I now want to know, what am I doing? What am I putting? And that's the bit. And for me, it's always the face and the eyes that I concentrate enormously on. Even though, you know, as you know, I go a lot in terms of the structure and everything. But for me, when you truly look at a human or an animal, you're looking in the eyes, aren't you? This is where you want to actually see. And so that's the part that I really go for. But I mean, I spend a lot of time learning about animals, so that I do feel like, I mean, obviously, you know, if I'm doing a lion, I've not met the specific lion. It's not like someone's pet. But you can go online and learn so much about their plight and their behaviours, and you really feel like you get to know them. And that's what I try and bring into my sculptures.
And I think in your research and your drawings and how you build up your sculpture, that really comes through, especially the research part of your work. It really comes through into the final piece, which for me, I just think is amazing how you can actually do that. And when you're doing something with your hands, you're making something with your hands, a lot of your own, I mean, I may sound quite wacky myself, but a lot of your own energy and vibes of that animal are going into that piece, and that's what I think, that's what illuminates the piece.
Well, it's interesting because someone who's known me a long time and knew how bored I got and how I went from craft to craft, they said, how come then with this you've just stuck with it? And I said, because every project is different. Every project you start again and you learn about the new piece, and I find that really exciting, because it's like, yes, start again, something new. And as you know, you're always learning new techniques and things, and every time you come up and you want to express something, you think, how do I do that then? And you think, right, I'm going to invent something. I love it.
Right, so with your sculptures, as it's veganuary, I know you use wool, but can you explain the other materials you use?
So before I answer this, Matt said she's getting an echo when I'm talking. I don't know, have either of us got anything else on in the background? No, I haven't. So I'm not sure what I can do about that, Matt, sorry. You're just going to have to hear me twice. What can I
say? Double bubble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not sure why that is, but yes, of course, veganuary. Basically, I've even got some here. This is actually recycled plastic bottles.
Wow.
And so, all sculptures we use what we call core wool, which basically means uncoloured basic wool, the cheaper wool, and that's what we build up in the middle and make out before we start adding all the beautiful fibres. So I've actually, my sea turtle was made completely out of, vegan-friendly fibres, really. So plant-based fibres and recycled plastic bottles. But actually, I love this because I love the idea that you do a sculpture and someone buys it or gives it as a present, and that stopped it going into landfill. And so I was actually thinking at one point, I think I had a laugh around with the girls and boys, I should put a tracker on it, shouldn't I? So if it goes anywhere near landfill, I get a woo-woo. Don't you dare. But yeah, and actually plant-based fibres, and there's a bio-nylon. And I like to explain, because some people say, well, why is that different to ordinary nylon? Ordinary nylon is bad because the enzymes they use to create the nylon comes from the petrochemical industry. Bio-nylon, that enzyme is a natural plant-based product, so that's what makes, and that's why we can get bio-nylon clothes, etc. But it dyes beautifully. The colours are just gorgeous. So actually, rather than sometimes selecting wool, I use those fibres from my sculptures for the colours. But equally, I mean, I do use things like alpaca and stuff. They're all brushed off once again, or, you know, someone's gone through their shearing, because those fibres don't felt. For instance, this that I'm wearing doesn't felt. Which means, you know, it doesn't matter how many times I scrunch it up, it's still going to look great. And sometimes on the sculptures, like the wolf, I want it to stay like that. But on the lions do get matted fur. So it's actually quite good to have that effect on it, rather than have it all flyy and everything. Yeah, so flyy, that's not really a word, is it? Fly away?
Do you have any of your pieces that you can just have a quick peek at?
I do. I've got them here, so I can just bring them for you. So to start, I'll bring the lion. There we go. Just a second. So this was, as I was saying, let me see.
Oh, he's beautiful. I just love him.
So he does actually have glass eyes. I've hand painted glass because for his little eyes, I thought he really needed glass eyes rather than felted eyes. And the mane is all wool, which is why you sort of get that kind of scragginess, which you do. Lions are scraggy.
Cindy says he's awesome.
Oh, thank you. And I love, and the colours there, it's reflecting the autumn, well, the winter sunset in Kenya. Yeah. So he's beautiful. He's my boy. Let me. I'll bring the wolf so you can see the difference. There we go. So here's my boy. He's got needle felted eyes rather than glass eyes.
Yeah.
I could still get the feeling in the eyes without, because they were bigger. But he's got fluffy, because it's alpaca. So that won't, I can stroke that as much as I like, and it's not going to felt as such. So, so that's.
Even though his eyes have been needle felted, the amount of detail just seeing through the screen is absolutely amazing. But then again, you know, you need to see it in real life. You need to go to a live show to see the animals.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we all came together to learn how to sell our art online, which we do. But it does, I mean, when you see art actually in person, I mean, and I'm going to mention yours because I am proud of a piece of your art. But once again, I fell in love with it online. But to see it in real life is just like, my God, it's so much more. And you think, yeah, like all art, it has to be seen in person. And as you say, when you get up close and you see all the details, don't you? That's when you see, my God, it's so much more than that 2-dimension that I saw on the screen. So I would recommend to anybody to go and see art if they can. But that's what we've tried to do with our Blooms Online show, is to help people actually see us, because we're like moving and showing our pieces and bringing, rather than just a flat piece of art type thing, isn't it? Yeah.
So I know you're going to be taking over our page for the month, Instagram and Facebook. Can you give us a little flavour of what you're going to be doing in the month?
Yeah. So I figured what I will do is, because we've started with this live today on a Tuesday, every Tuesday I'll come on and do a live. So I will kind of have a subject on the day, but if anybody wants to ask me anything, then they've got an opportunity to do that. But what I decided was each week I would do something about my techniques. That could be a video that I do. And each week I'll do something about a past project and something about a future project. And I think what I'm going to do is my future project is I'm just going to do one project. And I think it's going to be my tiger.
Very excited about seeing your tiger.
Yeah,
well, will we see all the stages of its
so
progression?
That's what I'm hoping to do, because I haven't started it yet. I've literally just done some research, decided he's going to be a Siberian tiger. Not that far. And I've also decided the pose. I found the pose of what he's going to be doing. So he's going to be kneeling down and drinking out of.
Oh wow!
So that's the position. So then we've just been thinking about how I'm going to do that, and that's what's quite nice about bouncing off with Steve as well, because we've had different ideas about how we can do. And I'm not going to give it all away, but we've got some special stuff for the water and everything going to come. But I will go through the drawing, the sketch, which is, don't get me wrong, there's nothing, I won't be selling that.
People might want to buy it.
Well, what I will do is put it in the notes to go with the piece type thing, but it's mine so that I know where I'm coming from, and I, as you know, I download a skeleton, I make a wire armature, and then I'll go through all of that process.
Fabulous.
And I'm hoping that we'll get a good way to completing it by the end of the month.
Excellent. You said earlier that you originally did an online course. Now I've heard that you are the only certified fibre sculptress in the UK, is that right?
Right. So it's so I learned to needle felt with Sarafina. Well, her name's Sarah Renzulli, but her company is called Sarafina, and she's in Maryland in the USA. And she's left-handed and I'm right-handed, but I learned to felt left-handed, which is peculiar to start. But I basically went through her processes from beginning up to. In fact, the elephant that I did is based on one of her pieces. And this year, she's decided to certify some people to become instructors of her techniques and her designs. So I applied for that, and yes, I got it. And I am the only person in Europe. Woohoo! Yeah, so they're in the USA and Canada, and I'm thrilled because obviously I use those techniques and always have done, plus I added one to my own. But I never felt that I could truly teach other people because I'm teaching someone else's stuff, and that just was wrong. So to be now properly certified and allowed, and I can teach all of her designs as well as my own, is brilliant. So I could take someone through my creative process to where I started and where I am now, if that's what they want.
Excellent. That's just, what's the word? I mean, if it were me, I would think, oh my goodness, this is just such a huge thing. And for you being my friend, I'm just so proud of you. I just feel so proud of you to have achieved that. I mean, your work is amazing, but to be able to have that extra, I don't know, badge, gong, whatever you want to call it, I just think it's fabulous. One question I'd like to ask is, do you do commissions?
Funny enough, yes. Yeah, I don't do masses of them. It's not, I mean, some artists, all they do is commissions because they concentrate on doing people's pets and things. And that's not my main focus. My main focus are my pieces that I like to create. However, I do have people come up to me and say, will I do their piece? But the trouble is, it's all a bit, I don't know how long it's going to take, because I really need to connect with the animal. So, it could be an instant, oh yeah, got it, go. Or, you know, I could be looking at a picture and speaking to them and everything for months before I'm finally. So I think most people these days are a bit instant, aren't they? They're a bit, can I have it now, or can I have it by Thursday? And you think, no. That's it. And if I can't even tell you when you can have it.
It'll be done when it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so we just got a note up from Mr. Wacky Lamps himself. Apparently he does commissions. Didn't know that.
He's never mentioned it.
No, never known that. But talking of Mr. Wacky Lamps, I'd like to talk about your podcast.
Oh!
So Stephanie and Steve do a podcast, Filaments and Fibre, which should be actually Fibre and Filaments.
Yes.
We're trying to change it.
Yeah.
And it is very, very funny. Very much for 18 plus.
Yes.
Very funny. How did that start? Because I just find it hilarious to be in my studio and have that going on in the background.
I mean, it's not for everybody, because we literally do say things which come into our head. And I would have to say, it's very sort of like 1970s, 80s telly, isn't it? As in, we say all the wrong things, which this day and age would not necessarily be considered correct. But what happened is, we banter all day long, Steve and I, and it's just the way that we are. We're very... we take the mickey out of each other all day long, really. I suppose I might take the mickey out of him more than he does me. But people were just saying, it's hilarious, you should record it. And I was thinking, yeah, that's probably not good, because I'm being well behaved today, but I often swear a lot. So it just, yeah, that wouldn't be good. We always say, don't put us on Gogglebox, because you wouldn't be able to... But then we just thought, oh, how hilarious. And we did it when the Blooms first started, because we did an introduction to the Blooms and everything, and we did all that. And it's just gone on from there, that every 2 weeks. And during the week, we'll say things to each other, and Steve will say, that's a good title for a podcast. And it will be, you know, it's real Benny Hill innuendo type stuff, but, you know, we find that funny, and it's our sense of humour. So it's one of those things where you say, that's part of your life. You have different parts of your life, don't you? And that one isn't necessary for everyone, but if that's your humour, we've got you covered.
I just need to say, it is so, so funny. And people may be offended, but nothing is said to offend.
No.
It is just so funny. I really enjoy it, and I highly recommend people going onto their podcast and having a good old listen, because it will really brighten your day up a bit and make you think sometimes. Okay, I've got a question for you.
Right.
If you could ask any artist, living or dead, ask them one question, who would the artist be, and what would the question be?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know if you consider him an artist. I consider him an artist, which is Gaudi, the architect. But he did interior design as well as and everything. And I don't think it would be a question, actually. It's more, could I follow you for a day?
Wow, yeah.
Because I know what we're all like, which is I couldn't tell you exactly what I do. And if someone asked me one question, I could answer it that way. But I'd love to follow him for a day and just see what sort of things he does, what inspired him. You know, because it's like you see something sometimes, don't you? You write that down. You don't use it then, you use it later. So just to see the sort of things that he does, because he's such an he was such an organic architect and designer. I believe he's an artist as well. He's just, and I love his colours. You know, I mean, just amazing. So yeah, I'd love to spend some time in his company.
Okay, well that's a good one actually. And you know what I like is the fact that everything comes from art, really. and beauty, because whether it's a building, whether it's a painting, whether it's a sculpture, whether it's what we're wearing, you know, it all starts from a place of someone, the creator, wanting to make something beautiful for others to look at.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
And inspire
Okay, some quick fire questions for you. Your favourite colour?
Red.
Last book you read?
Oh God, The Big Leap.
Bradley Cooper or Bradley Walsh?
Bradley Cooper.
Beach or countryside?
Countryside.
Georgia O'Keeffe or Frida Kahlo?
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Last song you sang along to?
Oh my God. Probably Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
Meat or veggie sausage roll?
Meat.
Dark or milk chocolate?
Okay, I prefer milk chocolate, but should eat dark.
Alright, and my very last question is, what's coming up for you in 2022 as Stephanie Lester, the artist?
So for the first time, I am actually going to be exhibiting at an art show, because previously it's always been creative shows or art and craft shows. So the first time, beginning of March and beginning of September, I'm going to be doing a contemporary art fair in Sandown Park, which is in Isha, outside London. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to try and be more organised. It's hilarious. But doing this month for the blooms has made me be more organised already. So, and also, I've just got to say, this is my year. It's not just the year of the tiger, it's the year of the water tiger, starting the 1st of February, which is me. I was born in the year of the water tiger.
All about you, Steph. All about you. Well, Steph, we've been on for nearly half an hour.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm going to say thank you ever so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
We'll be posting links to you and your artwork in the comments. We're so looking forward to you taking over the Blooms Instagram and Facebook page.
I might not give it back.
Looking forward to the videos, the live demos, the posts and everything. We'll be coming back together at the end of the month. We'll do another live interview to catch up and recap and add any bits that we may have forgotten.
Okay.
But until then, thank you ever so much for joining me today.
No, thank you.
And I'll see everyone later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Every single day